Chapter 16, Off to the Fair. The night before the county fair, everybody went to bed early. Fern and Avery were in bed by 8. Avery lay dreaming that the Ferris wheel had stopped and that he was in the top car. Fern lay dreaming that she was getting sick in the swings. Larry was in bed by 8:30. He lay dreaming that he was throwing baseballs at the cloth cat and winning a genuine Navajo blanket. Mr. and Mrs. Zuckerman were in bed by 9. Mr. Zuckerman lay dreaming about deep freeze unit. Mr. Zuckerman lay dreaming about Wilbur. He dreamt that Wilbur had grown until he was 160 feet long and 92 feet high, and that he won all the prizes in the fair that was covered with blue ribbons, and even had a blue ribbon tied to the end of his tail. Down in the barn cellar, the animals, too, were sleeping early, except Charlotte. Tomorrow would be her fair day, and every creature planned to get up early to see Wilbur off to the great adventure. When morning came, everybody got up at daylight. The day was hot. Up the road to Arabelle's house, Fern lugged a pail of water to her room and took a sponge bath. Then she put on the prettiest dress because she knew she would see boys at the fair. Mrs. Arabelle scrubbed the back of Avery's neck and wet his hair and parted it and brushed it down hard till it stuck to the top of his head, all but the 6 hairs that stood straight up. Avery put on clean underwear, clean blue jeans, and a clean shirt. Mr. Arabelle dressed, ate breakfast, and then went out to polish his truck. He had offered to drive everybody to the fair, including Wilbur. Bright and early, Larry put on clean straw in Wilbur's crate and lifted him into the pig pen. The crate was green. Gold letters said, Zuckerman's Famous Pig. Charlotte had her web looking fine for the occasion. Wilbur ate his breakfast slowly. He tried to look radiant without getting food in his ears. In the kitchen, Mrs. Zuckerman suddenly made an announcement. Homer, she said to him, I'm going to give that pig a buttermilk bath. A what? Said Mr. Zuckerman. A buttermilk bath. My grandmother used to bathe her pig with buttermilk when it got dirty. I just remembered. Wilbur's not dirty, said Mr. Zuckerman proudly. He's filthy behind the ears, said Mrs. Zuckerman. Every time Larry slops him, all the food runs down around his ears, then it dries and forms a crust. And he also has a smudge on one side where he lays in the manure. He lays in clean straw, corrected Mr. Zuckerman. Well, he's dirty, he's going to have a bath. Mr. Zuckerman sat down weakly and ate a donut. His wife went into the woodshed. When she returned, she wore rubber boots and an old raincoat, and she carried a bucket of buttermilk and a small wooden paddle. Edith, you're crazy, mumbled Zuckerman. She paid no attention to him. Together, they walked to the pig pen. Mrs. Zuckerman wasted no time. She climbed in with Wilbur and went to work. Dipping her paddle in the buttermilk, she rubbed him all over. The geese gathered around to see the fun, and so did the sheep and lambs. Even Templeton poked his head out cautiously to watch Wilbur get a buttermilk bath. Charlotte got so interested, she lowered herself on a drag lane so she could see better. Wilbur stood and closed his eyes. He could feel the buttermilk trickle down his sides. He opened his mouth and some of the buttermilk ran in. It was delicious. He felt radiant and happy. When Mrs. Zuckerman got through, he rubbed him dry. He was the cleanest, prettiest pig you ever saw. He was pure white and pink around the ears and a snout smooth as silk. The Zuckermans went up to change into their best clothes. Larry went to shave and put on a plaid shirt and his purple necktie. The animals were left to themselves in the barn. The 7 goslings paraded around their mother. Please, please, please take us to the fair, begged a gosling. Then all 7 began teasing to go. Please, 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 please. They made quite a racket. Children, snapped the goose, we're staying quietly at home. Only Wilbur is going to the fair. Just then, Charlotte interrupted. I shall go too, she said softly. I decided to go with Wilbur. He may need me. You can't tell what may happen at the fairgrounds. Somebody's got to go along who knows how to write, and I think Templeton better come too. I might need somebody to run errands or general work. I'm staying right here, grumbled Rat, having the slightest interest in fair. It's because you've never been to one, remarked the old chief. Fair is a rat's paradise. Everybody spills their food at the fair. A rat can cry out late at night and have a feast. In the horse barn, you will find oats, and the trotters and the pacers are spilled. In the trampled grass in the infield, you find discarded lunch boxes containing foul remains of peanut butter sandwiches, hard-boiled eggs, cracker crumbs, bits of donuts, and particles of cheese. In the hard-packed dirt of the midway, after the glaring lights go out, the people have gone home, you will find a veritable treasure of popcorn fragments, frozen custard dribblings, candied apples abandoned by tired children, sugar fluff crystals, salted almonds, popsicles, partially gnawed on ice cream cones, and the wooden sticks of lollipops. Everywhere there's a loot for rats, and tents, and booths, and hoppy lace-offs. Why, a fair is enough disgusting leftover food to satisfy a whole army of rats. Templeton's eyes were blazing. Is this true, he asked? Is this appetizing yarn of yours true? I like high living, and if what you say tempts me. It's true, said the old sheep. Go to the fair, Templeton. You will find that the conditions at the fair will surpass your wildest dreams. Buckets with sour mash sticking to them, tin cans containing particles of tuna fish, greasy paper bags stuffed with rotten. That's enough, cried Templeton. Don't tell me any more, I'm going. Good, said Charlotte, waking up the old sheep. Now there was no time to be lost. Wilbur will soon be put in the crate. Templeton, I must get into the crate right now and hide ourselves. The rats didn't waste a minute. He scampered over the crate, crawled between the slats, and pulled Strop over him so he's hidden from sight. All right, said Charlotte. I'm next. She sailed into the air, let out a dragline, and dropped gently to the ground. She climbed the side of the crate and hid herself in the knothole in the top floor. The old sheep nodded. What a cargo, she said. That sign ought to say Zuckerman's famous pig and 2 stowaways. Look out. The people are coming, shouted the gander. Cheese it, cheese it, cheese it. The big truck with Mr. Arable wheeled back slowly down the barnyard. Lurvy and Mr. Zuckerman walked alongside. Fern and Avery were standing in the body of the truck, hanging to the sideboards. Listen to me, whispered the old sheep to Wilbur. When they open the crate and try to pull you in, struggle. Don't go without a tussle. Pigs always resist when they're being loaded. If I struggle, I'll get dirty, said Wilbur. Never mind that. Do as I say, struggle. If you were to walk in the crate without resisting, Zuckerman might think you were bewitched. You'd be scared to go to the fair. Templeton poked his head out through the straw. Struggle if you must, he said. But kindly remember, I'm hiding down here in this crate, and I don't want to be stepped on, or kicked in the face, or pummeled or crushed in any way, or squashed or buffeted about, or bruised or lacerated or scarred or bit. Just watch what you're doing, Mr. Radiant, when they get to shoving you in. Be quiet, Templeton, said the sheep. Pull in your head. They're coming. Look radiant, Wilbur. Lay low, Charlotte. Tug it up, geese. The truck backed up slowly, the pig pen, and stopped. Mr. Arable cut the motor, got out, and walked around to the rear and lowered the tailgate. The geese cheered. Mr. Arable got out of the truck. Fern and Avery jumped to the ground. Mr. Zuckerman came walking down from the house. Everybody lined up at the fence and stood for a moment admiring Wilbur, the beautiful green crate. Nobody realized the crate was already containing a rat and a spider. That's some pig, said Mrs. Arable. He's terrific, said Lurvy. He's very radiant, said Fern, remembering the day he was born. Well, said Mr. Zuckerman, he's clean anyway. The buttermilk certainly helped. Mr. Arable studied Wilbur carefully. Yes, he's a wonderful pig, he said. It's hard to believe that he was just the runt of the litter. You got some extra good ham and bacon, Homer, when it comes time to kill that pig. Wilbur heard these words, and his heart almost stopped. I think I'm going to faint, he whispered to the old sheep watching. Kneel down, whispered the old sheep. Let the blood rush to your head. Wilbur sank on his knees, radiance gone. His eyes closed. Look, screamed Fern. He's fading away. Hey, watch me, yelled Avery, crawling on all fours in the crate. I'm a pig, I'm a pig. Avery's foot touched Templeton on the straw. What a mess, thought the rat. What a fantastic creature boys are. Why did I let myself in for this? The geese saw Avery in the crate and cheered. Avery, you get out of that crate this instant, commanded his mother. What do you think you are? I'm a pig, cried Avery, tossing handfuls of straw into the air. Oink, oink, oink. The truck is rolling away, Papa, said Fern. The truck, with no one at the wheel, has started to roll downhill. Mr. Arable dashed to the driver's seat and pulled that emergency brake. The truck stopped. The geese cheered. Charlotte crouched and made herself as small as possible in the knothole so Avery wouldn't see her. Come out at once, cried Mrs. Arable. Avery crawled out of the crate, hands and knees, making faces at Wilbur. Wilbur fainted away. The pig is passed out, said Mr. Zuckerman. Throw water on him. Throw buttermilk, suggested Avery. The geese cheered. Avery ran for a pail of water. Fern climbed the pen and knelt by Wilbur's side. It's sunstroke, said Zuckerman. The heat is too much for him. Maybe he's dead, said Avery. Come out of that pig pen immediately, cried Mrs. Arable. Avery obeyed, and the mother climbed to the back of the truck so she could see better. Lurvy returned with cold water and dashed it on Wilbur. Throw some on me, cried Avery. I'm hot too. Oh, keep quiet, hollered Fern. Keep quiet! Her eyes were brimming with tears. Wilbur, filling the cold water, came to. He rose slowly to his feet while the goose cheered. He's up, said Mr. Arable. I guess there's nothing wrong with him. I'm hungry, said Avery. I want a candied apple. Wilbur's all right now, said Fern. We can start. I want to take the ride of the Ferris wheel. Mr. Zuckerman, Arable, and Lurvy grabbed the pig and pushed him headfirst in the crate. Wilbur began to struggle. The harder the men pushed, the harder he held back. Avery jumped and joined in the men, who were kicked and thrashed and grunted. Nothing's wrong with this pig, said Mr. Zuckerman cheerfully, pressing his knees against Wilbur's behind. All together now, boys, shove. With a final heave, they jammed it into the crate. The geese cheered. Larry nailed some boards across the end so Wilbur wouldn't back out. Then, using all their strength, the men picked up the crate and heaved it aboard the truck. They did not know that under the straw was a rat. Inside the knothole was a big gray spider. They only saw a pig. Everybody in, cried Mr. Abel as he started the motor. Ladies climbed in beside Mr. Zuckerman, and Lurvy and Fern and Avery rode in the back, hanging to the sideboards. The truck began to move ahead. The geese cheered. The children answered their cheer, and everybody went to the fair.